welcome back to GA Fan TV. My name is Aaron, joined here by Matthew Hurley for the Dublin and Cork live watch along. The game about to begin in about 5 minutes time. Game about to throw in, obviously Dublin and Cork. Myself as a Dublin fan, Matthew as a Cork fan, so certainly should be entertaining. All the rest, Matthew, how's the pre-match nerves? How are you feeling 5 minutes from throw in?
Jeez, thanks for having me on, Aaron, for this live stream. Should be very interesting. But yeah, I haven't had time to process it really. Watching the Roscommon Armagh game earlier, it was a very interesting game. 6 minutes of added time didn't help really when putting out stats at the end of the game. But yeah, looking forward to this game. Look, Daniel Goulding and Donald O'Connor set the scene on TG Carr earlier today. So hopefully they put in a good performance anyway. We're expected to lose to Dublin, but hopefully a not too big a margin, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I suppose I'd imagine as a Cork man, you'd love nothing more to be there. Like obviously you're away in Glasgow, or you're away in Scotland at the minute in Erasmus, isn't it? So you're away from the game, away from the atmosphere. I suppose maybe a bad time to be away with the fact that it's such a big game.
Huge game, yeah. I'm absolutely disappointed. I'm thinking like the 1 year I go on Erasmus, the 1 year where I have to go on my Erasmus for my journalism course. Dublin are Division 2, so look, it is what it is. Just watching it here, but yeah, my whole family actually came this week, and they went home yesterday just to get in time for the Cork Dublin game back at home. So hopefully they enjoy it. Hopefully, I don't know, they'll be watching the game rather than us screaming. I'd say, Aaron, but yeah, hopefully they enjoy it.
100%. Yeah, no, we will. Get some graphics up on the screen for both sides in just a moment, and we'll see if there has been any late changes or anything, I suppose, of that nature. I suppose watching on for yourself, like obviously we were previewing the game on your own show sort of leading up to this, but from a Cork perspective, like what's the thought process there? I mean, like I think beating Dublin, I think would be a massive stretch, but I suppose as we were saying previously, like if you can be competitive in some way, like that would be a plus.
It would be, yeah, definitely. And I heard John speaking in your podcast as well, saying it would be a plus about 6-7 points, something like that. I was hearing a stat actually last night that Cork haven't lost to Dublin at home in the league since 1990 or something. So wow, yeah. maybe that'll be playing on the players' minds. Like Dublin don't particularly have a good record in Park Urin, but this is in Park Keefe. It might be a wider pitch. That'll be the problem. I was looking at the Dublin team yesterday, and I was thinking, okay, we have maybe a small chance, but no, Coffey Burns come in. I just heard on the news there. I think he's come in for Sean McMahon. I don't know where Tom Lahiff will go. Maybe in the forward. I'm not sure, but he'll go into midfield now. He'll have a huge battle. But Cullum O'Callaghan and Ian Maguire, this is a big challenge now for them facing Fenton or Coffey Burns. So we'll see how they react to it. I suppose it's not the results, Aaron. It's just about how these players react to the Dublin challenge, because Dublin have so many good players. I was hearing on TG Carr, I don't know if it's true, but I think Jack McCaffrey's on the bench. I think. If he is, Jesus, what a guy to bring on. Like, if he comes on later.
Yeah, like I think it's been a long wait really for Jack McCaffrey to make his away turn. This was the Dublin side that was, I suppose, named yesterday. Now, as Matthew was saying there has been a few late changes. So David O'Hanlon's the man between the sticks. And you've also got Keane Murphy, Sean McMahon, and Michael Fitzsimons in the full-back line there. Lee Gannon, John Small, and Owen Merchant. I've seen there, I think, Luke Fahey. Oh, no, that's the Cork side. Owen Merchant in there at wing-back. Midfield, Brian Fenton, Tom Lahiff, Noel Scully, Kieran Kilkenny, and Ross McGarry in the half-forward line. And Cormac Costello, Dean Rock, Con O'Callaghan in the full-forward line. I think we were saying there, Patrick Kofic Byrne might be a late change, and we'll see as well what late changes there is in the Cork side as well. Just a few minutes from throw-in. Looks like a great crowd as well in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, in fairness. Looks fairly full there from watching, which is obviously good to see.
What I was hearing as well, I was hearing from my parents last night that there's supposed to be trains of Dublin fans coming down. I'm not sure is that true, but looks like it already. It doesn't look like the terraces are open, which is not ideal for Dublin fans, I'm sure, Aaron. I'm sure they want to make an atmosphere down there. But look, I'd say they'll enjoy the stand. I'd say the north stand will be grand, south stand. But it's great to have a rocky Parky Keefe. Like, we won't get it next week against Limerick. Like, barely anyone would turn up. Meath had a good crowd, I was hearing as well. So it's great that they're actually getting behind the footballers here. So yeah, it is brilliant to hear, and hopefully they'll get a good game.
Yeah, and like just looking at some results. Obviously, we will have a live show later this evening, maybe to run through all the results. But in terms of some full-time results that did come in, Kildare have beaten Clare away from home, 3 points in injury time there. They've beaten Clare 16 points to 15, so huge result there. Louth got a result against Limerick, 115 to 113. And then in Division 1, Monaghan beat Donegal 120 to 15 points. And Roscommon, obviously that was the game previously on TG Carr, that finished 112 to 12 points. And Galway beat Tyrone 16 points to 13. And further on down the division, Sligo with a 21 point to 13 point win over Waterford. And Fermanagh with a big win there, another big win for them against Down, 214 to 310. Westmeath also beat Offaly 212 to 12 points, and Cavan beat Longford 119 to 11 points, and also wins in there for Wexford and Laois. So I suppose seeing that then, like seeing we're obviously the game is just underway here now. The ball's just been thrown in, and Cork straight away going long enough there into that full forward line. But seeing obviously Kildare beating Clare, like that puts a bit more of an emphasis on the game. And Jesus, Cork nearly got an L goal chance early on there. A little bit ropey at the back from a Dublin perspective.
Jeez, so I think I'm behind them on GA go. So yeah, it's great to hear that.
Yeah, it was kind of a half goal chance really. It was like to be fair, it was a hand pass, so even if it went in the net, it wouldn't have counted. But it did look like David O'Hanlon was maybe a little bit sort of caught flat-footed. But I suppose Cork going for.
See, Chris Hogue did well there.
Yeah.
He actually, short there. In fairness, like he ran at the full back. I think he was on Cian Murphy there. He did very well. Fairness, good start.
Yeah, David O'Hanlon did well as well. In fairness, like just to, I suppose, not fall into the net or sort of lose the ball in such a dangerous position there. Dean Rock just had an effort there as well that flew a little bit wide of the target.
Yeah, it's crucial now we don't concede frees in this game, because Rock will just take them at every opportunity. And even if Rock goes off, I was thinking Cormac Costello will still take on the opportunity as well. So, and usually Cork teams usually concede a lot of frees, so it should be interesting to see how they calm down a small. And kickouts is another interesting one now. And Hall's dropped the ball. I don't know. Jesus. Bad start.
Yeah, no, they're in possession here though, like in a good area. I suppose if Cork can get that first point, obviously the lift it would give the crowd and everything else. As you said, like I know plenty of Dublin fans who have travelled down for this game. Like I think that's probably something that maybe Dublin fans don't get credit for enough. Actually, that we do like to travel, even though the fact that we probably don't need to that much. Like there was plenty of Dublin fans in Limerick 2 weeks ago as well, so I'm sure there will be plenty of Dublin fans in Páirc Uí Chaoimh to cheer the capital on. Hopefully
so. Jeez, it'll be some atmosphere there. It seems like a good atmosphere so far from when I'm hearing it on an earpiece here, and it seems like a good atmosphere, right? Like in fairness to the Cork fans, I didn't think they'd turn up in their numbers as they did for the first two games especially. But maybe it's just the belief they have in John Cleary. I don't know what it is. Like they didn't have the belief in previous managers over the past few seasons. And now they have exciting young players coming through. The hype is back, maybe. I don't know what it is, but it's great to see, because Cork football needs to be at the top table, definitely. So, yeah, it's great to see a big crowd here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because I suppose that has been a criticism, hasn't it, been sort of down the years with Cork football. Like even when you're in Division 3, I remember a couple of years ago, there was plenty of times the attendance was quite low. I suppose it is maybe tough when you are sort of in a low division to get high attendances. I could imagine when Dublin play Clare next week, there'll probably be quite a small attendance from a Dublin perspective. But I suppose that's just the nature of it, isn't it?
It is now, yeah. I remember in Division 3 games, actually, it was in Parky Keeve. I think I went to a game against Down in Division 3, and there was like under 1,000 there. You could basically hear the players screaming and everything. It was, and maybe there's the question mark. Dublin just conceded free there, a good start. But yeah, there was the argument there that Cork should have been playing their games in Parky Rin, or maybe down even further to Clonakilty or somewhere, just to get the place bouncing a small bit. Like Parky Keeve, it's a great stadium. It's a state-of-the-art stadium, as it's shown on TV here, but it's way too big for like Division 3 games. Like I seen actually Semple Stadium last night on a Tipperary fan page or something, and it looked like a ghost town against Antrim last night. It was. So there is the argument: could they just play it in smaller stadiums? Keep it Dublin for the Clare and Low games. Could they not play it in Parnell Park? Get a bit of an atmosphere going, Maybe that could be something to look into anyway. But yeah, like I remember those Division 3 games. I don't want to go back there, Aaron. I really don't. But
yeah, just seeing Stephen Sherlock's effort though there just went well wide of the target there. So I suppose that's a first wide, I think, from a Cork perspective.
It is, yeah. 2 wide so far for between either side, and 3 shots between either side, no score. So yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it has been a common theme, hasn't it, in a lot of these league games early on, where the opening 10 minutes, you don't really see too much. Like Roscommon Armagh, I think, had 1 or 2 points after 10 minutes. Even Mayo and Kerry last week, other than the Ryan O'Donoghue goal, didn't really have too much. So I suppose it is a common theme of these league games to have a low score early on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, geez, I know it seems bad now, but even the Derry Meath game during the second half, I actually nearly fell asleep during it. It was, Jesus, it was very bad stuff. Like, I know Derry were in control, but Meath, like some Derry fan actually said to me, Meath didn't have a plan B, and it looked kind of that way as well. So, yeah, it was a bit of a culture shock there for Meath, as Dublin have a free and Mr. Rock over. That's it.
Yeah, he's put it over the bar. So first point of the game goes to Dublin. Dean Rock, I suppose, clinical as always as he is on frees. Missed an early chance early on. That was obviously from play, but he puts this one over the bar. So Dublin with the first score of the game.
Cork,
I suppose that's the thing from a Cork perspective, though, isn't it? You don't have the last thing you want here is to fall too far behind. So I'd imagine you will be try to be, I suppose, conservative enough for this one.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just looking at a post of stats there of Roscommon and Armagh. Someone was saying the ref was terrible. Conor Lane from Cork. I didn't think it was that bad in the Roscommon Armagh game, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like he could have given a black card for the penalty, I felt. Considering it was a deliberate pull down in a decisive area, but obviously that would have favoured Roscommon, and it didn't matter in the end because they won the game. Obviously there was that late black card from, I think, Keith Doyle and Rian O'Neill, but yeah, that is a black card, and he gave a black card. So I don't think the referee really didn't do that much wrong. I mean, I didn't see what the whole scenario was with Jamar Hall and Rian O'Neill got a yellow card. I didn't really know what that was about, to be honest. But there's a point for Cork. Brian Hurley, I think, with the finish. So first point of the game for Cork.
Imagine if there's a goal now and you see it before me now. Jesus, yeah, that'd be a bit awkward. But GA goal, man, it's falling behind 15 hell. Like I don't want to be fast enough, actually, GA goal connection, but clearly not.
Yeah, no. I've often watched games on GA Go as well before, and they're a good bit behind. They're about maybe I might maybe switch it up in the second half and get my other laptop out and just watch the game there, so at least we're on the same time. But yeah, no. If there is a goal, if there is a Cork goal, I won't spoil it for you. I'll wait until it comes.
He's good win from Brian Hurley in the kick out there.
But that was a good response. Good response. Dublin going fairly direct there into.
Oh jeez, that's gone right.
Conor O'Callaghan. Nothing.
Sherlock again. He's not on form today. That's a worrying sign. Sherlock.
I
But
think
yeah, encouraging signs so far, in fairness.
I think the referee might have given. I don't know if he has given a penalty to Dublin, or there was a bit of a pullback on Conor Callaghan inside the. No, he's given a free. Actually, in fairness.
Gee, Shanley's going to have a hard day today, I'd say. I remember he marked Clifford in 2020 as well. Like, he seems to always get the big name players. I don't know what it is about, but I know he's a very promising player, but it's a huge job for him. Really huge job.
Yeah, didn't he keep Clifford scoreless from play though last year, or maybe the year before?
That was Sean Meehan. That was a different marker.
Yeah.
But yeah, in 2020, he reduced them to really nothing much. Like, Clifford had one of his worst games in a Kerry shirt then. And that was his first, I think that was his first championship appearance, senior level, and he went on Clifford that day. So he's well used to it, I'd say. And did he go on Sherlock at the county final? I don't think he did. No, I think that was Clancy. But yeah, he's been on some big players in fairness than Shanley.
Yeah, no, it's a mighty task. I mean, Conor Callaghan probably hasn't looked at his, like, he was a little bit rusty against Kildare. I obviously didn't see any of the game against Limerick. To be fair to Cork, like, Dublin have the ball here, and Cork have done pretty well there defensively. Like, they've got that's a decent turnover there. I think the longer the game stays as a 1 or 2 point game, like, I think the more it suits Cork, like, because I suppose obviously if it was a narrow defeat, I think most Cork fans would be happy with that, and also it gives you the opportunity of maybe another crazy late moment as we've seen down the years.
Jesus, like, that'd be DreamWorks stuff, I'd say, Aaron. But what I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at the points difference actually in the table. Meath got a bit of a battering last night, and we're +9 at the moment. If we lose by about 4 or 5 points, we'll be still on +4, and we'd be one of only, I think, 3 teams on a plus goal difference in Division 2. So, and that's Derry and Dublin, the other 2 teams. So it's a good enough start, in fairness, if we keep that going, But we just scored a bit. Brilliant score.
It's a good point. Yeah, it was a good point. Dublin going down the other end. Oh, that's a bit poor there from Kieran Kilkenny.
In fairness to them, they have started well. Like, defensively, they're pretty tight, Cork. And like, attack-wise, there's a bit of questions. Like, Sherlock so far is not his best day. That was a good score by McSweeney, who doesn't usually score. So encouraging signs so far, in fairness.
Yeah, no, like, defensively very well set up, and that was a good save there by David O'Hanlon. Cork nearly got in for a goal there.
It's just on the Kilkenny chance. That's very poor from Kilkenny. Oh yeah, I know we're going bad. Jeez, that's a bad miss for Kilkenny standards.
Yeah, like, he's been, like, he wasn't really involved too much in the Kildare game. Fairly not at his brilliant best, but I think he was playing as a full forward. I don't think that's his best position, really.
Just seen the chance there of Chris Oak. What happened there? Was it a free in?
Yeah, I think the ref has given a free in here. Yeah, I think there might have been a pullback maybe.
That's a good save by Hanlon, though. Very good save. I know
it's a good save. I'm not too sure what he's actually given the free for, to be honest. Maybe it was over carrying, maybe, or something. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe because the goal, David O'Hanlon didn't release the ball, but there you go. Cork are in front, so it's looking good for the L. Yeah.
Blow up, Riff. Good luck.
Yeah, stop the count there, says you. Yeah, like
It
so
looks
far
like
from watching this, it looks a little sort of like the Kildare game from a Dublin perspective, where we're not really putting the foot on the gas or trying to create at them, but there's a pocket of space there for. Yeah, I think it was Patter O'Cofer Byrne there just running through the gap, but
geez, in fairness to Chris O'Jones, he's doing well on Keane Murphy, isn't he? Like he's turning him inside out, and that's twice now he's got the run. In fairness to him. So
yeah. Yeah, Dublin have a free here anyway in it. Good position. Dean Rock standing over us, so you'd expect him to put this one over the bar. Dublin haven't scored a point from play so far in the opening 15 minutes, but they have scored 3, all from frees. I did think that was a bit of a soft free, in fairness. It looked more like Patter O'Cofer Byrne sort of just ran into Cork defence. But I suppose maybe that's something to watch for Cork early on. Like all 3 points have been from frees, so that's a slight bit of indiscipline there from a Dublin perspective or from a Cork perspective.
And even look at the stats so far. Cork conceded 4 frees and 3 of them scoreable. Like again, we need to foul in certain good areas. Like a good foul will be beyond like the opposition 45 foul there, but no, just fouling in Dean Rock range, it's very, very poor from Cork. And we've been guilty of that in the past, in fairness. Like I think we conceded like 8 frees against Meath, which wasn't too bad. But in the past, I think games against Kerry where we performed well, we conceded like 20 frees. If we do that today, we're going to get punished, And it's kind of frustrating that all of Dublin's points have been from Rock frees. So something we have to watch.
Yeah, and we've only really created 2 other chances other than that, Dean Rock and obviously Kieran Kilkenny, who dragged that chance fairly wide. But Cork have looked good here, and that's another great score there. This time from Brian Hurley, actually. So that's his second point of the game. So Cork go back in front, and I mean, 16 minutes in, it's early days yet. You'd expect Dublin to up the gear and up the ante at some point, but so far Cork have just been that bit sharper, a bit quicker to the ball. And looking at Dublin's performance, it reminds me, even though it is only 15 minutes in, it does remind me of how Dublin played in the league a bit last year, where we were sort of hand-passing it around and not really doing much with it.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens now on the attack.
But yeah, it's a good start from Cork. But attack-wise, we've had 8 shots and we've scored 4. I know, like, we're ahead of Dublin at the moment. We scored 4 points, but that's kind of worrying. Against teams like Dublin and Kerry, we need to be, hitting over 70% at least, if you know what I mean. But look, it's something small. It's a good start. It's a very good start from the players, considering a lot of people, like in the league last season, we were closer to relegation than promotion, and to pull it up to Dublin today, it's a good showing, in fairness.
Yeah, Conor O'Callaghan just responded there with a good point. That's Dublin's first point from play. Good point off his right boot. I suppose that's vintage Conor O'Callaghan there. So Dublin with their first point from play. Took a while to get it, but
yeah.
A few comments coming in here. Cripple says, "How's this game going?" Was at the Roscommon game. Yeah, it's only about 16, 17 minutes in. Level so far. I think Cork will be the happier of the 2 sides probably early on, but obviously a long way to go just yet.
Wait a minute. O'Halloran's done well in fairness to him. Jeez, fairness.
No, he has. He's done good, and I think he's kind of he's getting closer to nailing on that number 1 shirt, in my opinion. Like in terms of being the starting goalkeeper. That's another poor wide there from Dublin. I think it was Ross McGarry.
Cork are packing the defence, aren't they? Geez, so I'd say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a load anyway inside the 45, and it's going to make it hard for Dublin, let's say.
Yeah, like I suppose that's how he's played against Dublin last year in Croke Park, wasn't it? He had a lot of men inside their own 45, and obviously against Kerry as well. So, although that game against Cork last year never really looked in doubt, really, like I thought Dublin were fairly comfortable. But I remember at half time, you were thinking, like, it's not inconceivable. It was only 2 or 3 points in at half time. So, I'd imagine maybe John Cleary's looking at this and thinking, similar game plan, and if it works, it works. But there's the Cork goalkeeper playing with fire a bit there.
He's not for his distribution, no, Michal. He's a good shot stopper, but we're trusting him now in the kick out. Like, in fairness to the kickouts, we've won 6 out of 7, mostly short. Like, it's like usually Cork teams would get 50%, let's say. But now we have a settled goalkeeper there. Like, it's good signs in fairness. But in fairness, like, the Dublin goal, I'm very impressed with the Dublin goalkeeper so far. I've seen Michal there. And he's getting surrounded, and is that a free to Cork?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I actually thought he gave over carrying there originally, but no, he's actually giving it to Cork. Fair enough.
They're very lucky. Very lucky, I'd say.
Yeah, like I didn't really see what Dublin did wrong there personally. Like, he had 2-3 men around them. Like, I mean,
so Lee Gannon's getting yellow card each.
That was a interesting decision there by the referee. Cork were on the attack there, but I think the referee gave over carrying, so stops the Cork attack, allows Dublin back in possession to go down the other end.
I suppose it's not the game for the purists, this is Aaron. I know we're supporters and stuff like that, and watching, in suspicion, but geez, it's I'd say it's not the greatest game, is it?
No, it's not. Like to be fair, like both teams, like when Cork are getting the ball, they're trying to move the ball quickly and be direct. I feel Dublin have been a little bit lethargic at times, attacking wise and shooting wise hasn't been there. But yeah, no, it probably hasn't been really. But hopefully, like it opens up. I think probably the best thing for the game would probably, obviously, I don't want this, but for Cork to actually take a lead. And geez, Dublin are all over the place here, and yeah, there we go.
Turnover there with Bahi.
That's the worrying sign from a Dublin perspective. Like, the defensively just.
Good ball. On Chris Oak. What a goal. Is it Owen McSweeney? What a goal.
It's a good finish, but I don't know what's going on with Dublin. Like again, like that was the same crack last year where, like, defensively just wide open, like leaving far too many spaces. He looked completely free nearly as he was running through there. Like, that's just.
Is that Chris Oak and Cian Murphy? Again, I think Cian Murphy needs to go off Chris Oak Jones from Dublin point of view, because I think that's about 3 times he's turned him. I'd say who would be good in him now? I'd say who would you put there? Lee Gannon maybe, or somebody.
Yeah. Like, I think you would put Lee Gannon. Yeah, you need to switch it up now, because I mean he's doing all sorts of damage. Like, Cork keep going for that left cornerback position where Dublin are, like that sort of area of the field, and they're getting a lot of joy. Like, and they're going for direct ball, and like it is, like they're getting joy out of it. Like, they're getting joy out of it, and Dublin have responded with a point, but Cork again are coming down the other end, and geez, this is looking very worrying here from a Dublin perspective. It's another great score. It's Brian Hurley. It's 1-5 to 5 points. Jesus, if Dublin don't get a grips with this game, we might be looking at a surprise here.
It's way too early though, Harms. Way too early. It's what, 23, 24 minutes gone. Try to keep your hopes.
Yeah, it is early days, but see, like, the worrying point of view from a Dublin perspective is that, like, if we were to get B here, it allows Cork and even Kildare maybe, whoever else, just to get a bit of confidence and feel like they have an opportunity. Like, because obviously Derry have won 3 from 3. You know, obviously Meath are definitely still in the race, even despite yesterday's defeat. You know, like, and a Dublin loss here, like that's Dublin, Cork, and Meath all on 4 points. As you said, obviously a long, long way to go just yet, but yeah, so
it's good sign so far, to be honest. Like, but yeah, the only scores from play for Cork so far have been Hurley and McSweeney. I would say Hurley, McSweeney, and Chris O'Jones, I'd say, are the main threats to Dublin so far, anyway. Like, it's kind of surprising Cork are doing so well, and Sherlock hasn't really got a look in. He's only got 1 free so far. You know, it's Matty Taylor again. Jeez, he's running all over the place.
Yeah, like Dublin just aren't being direct enough or quick enough, really. Like, it's too laboured, really. And Cork are well organised here, so like that's the issue here for Dublin now. Like 3 points behind, and they need to get at it. But here's a good bit of play. Again, nothing really doing. Should be a point over the bar. It is a point over the bar. I think it might have been Ross McGarry this time around, or it actually might have been Dean Newcombe. I think actually one of the new lads to come into the side. To be fair, that goal, like, it's definitely kicked a bit of life into the game now. Like, it's what's the score there? 1-5 to 6 points. So it's quite a lively game, in fairness. As I'll update that score on the screen as soon as I can. But even looking at the possession stats on TG Cahir as well, like Cork have had like a huge amount of the ball, in fairness. And that was a running team in the game versus Kildare as well, where Dublin Dublin had very little of the ball, and we don't seem to want to engage in the midfield that much. Like, we seem happy to allow Cork to have possession, a bit like we did against Kildare. And like, if people remember, like, Kildare should have beaten Dublin. Like, they should have beaten Dublin, and obviously you beat Kildare last week, you know, fairly comprehensively. So,
yeah, that was an interesting, actually, topic of debate, considering we hammered Kildare. And then I watched the Kildare game in full against Dublin, and I thought Kildare, if they went for it more, they could have even won it, you know? So, I don't know, is that a worrying sign for Dublin? Or, like, let's not forget Cork. Cork are destroyed, exposed by Meath in the first day. So, do you think Cork have improved? Or do you think Dublin are just very, very poor today?
Yeah, like, I think Cork have definitely shown signs of improvement. All right, like, looking at it defensively, like, you're seeing that Kevin Walsh imprint from watching this game so far. And I think for Dublin, it's similar to what we kind of seen last year at times in the league, which is strange, like, because, like, you're looking at that starting 15 and Con's out there, you know, Kieran Kilkenny. There just seems to be a lack of movement. Like, I'm looking at Dublin here on the ball, a real lack of movement from, like, the forwards. Really, they need to kind of be moving around a little bit. But that's a good point actually there from another one of the new Dublin players who's come in.
Coffee Bar, maybe?
No, it was actually Keane Murphy. Keane Murphy who gets the point, so that's a decent point from him. So Dublin have brought it back down to a point game, which is good to see. But just at times, like, I feel like with Keane Murphy, he was on the ball for about a minute or so. He was looking for options, and he eventually just went for the point because there was no movement up top. So, and in fairness, it was a decent finish.
Geez, even look at the Cork. Like, you have to credit Cork, because with the defence, like, how many men are actually in the 45? And they don't say it have Chris Ogue and Sherlock up front, and then Hurley's even tracking back. Like,
yeah, Chris Ogue is causing all sorts of problems here for Dublin. I mean, they don't know what to do with him, and for God's sake,
is it another goal? Oh my God!
Another goal. Oh wait, I think he's given a square ball. I think it's not. Jesus, Dublin have got massively away with it there. But again, like, it's Chris Ogue going down that that right hand side, like where Keane Murphy is, and just yeah.
It was him on Keane Murphy again. That's the 4th time now. Once. Oh, it was a swear. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Dublin now going down the other end with Cormac Costello. Over carrying from Costello, so Cork get the turnover there. That's Cork will be happy with that.
Let's look at this square ball again. Oh yeah, it's a clear what. If the fella behind whoever that was punched it in rather than the fella in front.
Yeah, it would have stood down, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, though, like it's still it's still worrying from a Dublin perspective that again you've got through so easily, and well, here's a turnover for Dublin, and Cork might be a little bit exposed here. Kilkenny's balls not really, just a little bit to the right of Cormac Costello. Again, Cork looking for that area of the field. Brian Hurley calls a mark, so you'd expect him in the form that he's in to put this one over, which he does.
4th now. Jeez, he's in big form now today.
And that's the thing, like it seems Chris Oak-Jones and Brian Hurley, Dublin, are having all sorts of problems with it, but actually Stephen Sherlock, funnily enough, he's been fairly quiet so far, I think.
Has been, yeah. Like it's that was a brilliant mark in fairness by Hurley. Like Hurley, he did well against Kildare last day as well. I think he scored 3 points from play or something like that, or maybe it was 4. And against Meath, he didn't score anything at all. So, like, it's a funny one with Brian Hurley. Like today he's on it, but then other days he's just not on it. If you know what I mean. Like even in the match in Croke Park last year, he was definitely on in the first half. Hurley, he was in and out of the Limerick game against Loud. He dragged us out of jail. So it's just consistency is the main thing with him, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too sure who it was who actually hand passed it into the back of the net there. But it was a great bit of work again from Chris Oak-Jones. Con O'Callaghan scored a lovely point there. That's vintage Con O'Callaghan, who in fairness has been probably one of the few Dublin forwards who really has stood up so far in this game. But even that probably shows Dublin so far in this game. Like Con O'Callaghan had to drop like very deep there to get something. There's an effort from Stephen Sherlock that goes a good bit wide of the target.
It's worrying. I know we're hit, but it's worrying that Sherlock's not really on form today. You know, when you need kind of a clutch player to come up with crucial points in the last few minutes, it's kind of surprising as well. I thought he'd stand up now today, but doesn't look like it so far.
Yeah. Like I think Dublin have done a fairly decent job on him so far at sort of like limiting the supply into him. I think maybe like Dublin, Desi Farrell and Dublin were probably looking at this thinking we'll put the emphasis on trying to stop Stephen Sherlock and stop his influence. But in the end, it's been Oak-Jones and Brian Hurley who've really done the damage. That's another good point there for Dean Rock. So Dublin draw level in the game. Back to back all square. So I suppose that's it. That is a positive from a Dublin perspective that we're still keeping the scoreboard ticking over, and we are getting those scores. Like we definitely we've more than enough quality to be winning this game. But I suppose from a Cork point of view, as you were saying there, like Stephen Sherlock will put that effort wide, and even the Chris Oak-Jones, like even if although he plays it into the square, like even if you could have worked a point out of that, like you're talking about small margins, and a lot of the time against teams like Dublin or Kerry, it needs to be perfect.
Yeah. It is, yeah, and interesting actually. Dublin have 75% conversion rate at the moment, despite you playing badly, and Cork at 50%. So that could bite us back. It's this shot conversion rate. Like if Dublin are performing badly and still getting 75%, like they'll get say 10 shots away in the second half and they'll convert about 7 or 8. And that could be the difference between the teams at the end of the day. So, Cork need to brush it up come second half, I'd say. Brush up the shooting.
100%. Yeah, there was another wide there from
Brian
Cork.
Harvey.
Yeah.
Or there was McSweeney, sorry.
Yeah, like I suppose it could be because it was the wides in some ways that cost you against Meath as well, wasn't it, at times?
Yeah, it was to an extent. I thought it was our tackling more so against Meath. Our shooting's usually good. Apparently it was good against Kildare now. But today it's just the one aspect I'd say about this game. It's been way off today. I don't know what it is. I know we're level. We should be happy about this, but like I say this all the time, if you're going to be an underdog in the game, you need to get about 70, maybe close to 80% of your shots over the bar or the back of the net.
Yeah, Dublin really need to do something about that diagonal ball that's going into Chris Oak-Jones, because Cork just keep doing it time and time again, but nothing comes of it this time. That's actually poor enough effort there from Stephen Sherlock. That's another wide from him. He just doesn't look at it, to be honest. But again, though, like that diagonal ball into Chris Oak-Jones, it's causing all sorts of problem for Dublin, and like Dublin need to fix that at half time. Just looking at some comments coming in here. Keane says Dublin seem to be under immense pressure in the back line when Cork kick it in long. Yeah, like it's it's causing all sorts of problems for Dublin. And actually, funnily enough, that has been something that Dublin have struggled with last year. Like Kerry done that a good bit in the first half. They were kicking diagonally into Clifford and into Sean O'Shea, and it was causing all sorts of problems. And then you also had Armagh, who done something similar in the league last year as well. So has been an issue for Dublin. If Cork keep doing it, they have the winning of the game, entertaining match. I suppose the goal probably has opened it up a little bit. Cormac Costello just scored another point there. So the fact that Dublin haven't been overly brilliant, but they still have 10 points on the board in the first half, which is a good sign. And I think if we can brush up our accuracy a little bit more in the second half, we should have enough for to see off the Rebels or see off yourselves.
Yeah, in fairness, like even 7 points for play compared to Cork's 1-4. Like we were talking about shots from play earlier on when Rock scored 3 frees, but ever since then, all your scores have been from play. So, like in fairness, you've actually stood up to the challenge when McSweeney got the goal, but as well as that, Cork aren't conceding much frees as they did, so that's a positive.
Yeah, Tom says here, Cork are kicking stupid wides. Yeah, so it's been a few silly wides like that Sherlock wide at the end of the half there, and then Dublin go down the other end and score with Cormac Costello. But I think all in all, like it's half time now. Cork 1-6, Dublin 10 points. Like, how would you feel about that first half? Like, in fairness, it's not hammering anyway. And in more ways than one, like Cork probably could have had more than one goal when you think of David O'Hanlon's save at the start of the match, and then obviously the opportunity as well. Of course, the hand pass, the square ball that went in. So Cork maybe could have had more of an opportunity to be further in front here. Maybe so.
But I think Dublin will have to come up with a plan for Chris Oak-Jones. If they do so now at half time, if Daisy gets these street smarts there, I think Dublin could roll away with this game. Like Owen McSweeney, in fairness, is doing a lot of kick passing in. Sherlock, like I don't know, he's just not on today. Even Oak-Jones, like he's causing problems, but he's taken 3 shots and they've all been missed. So, like I know he's making diagonal runs and he's getting the best of Cian Murphy, but when you look at his job to score, he isn't really doing it. So that's a worrying thing for Cork. I think I'll pull up the stats there, but I think they've kicked 7 wides so far. That's not good, really.
Yeah, a few comments coming in here. Laurent Tala says, "Coy Bib, come on, you boys in blue." That's a good mate of mine commenting there. I'm not too sure what you're doing watching this. To be honest, I thought maybe you'd be watching a bit of Barcelona, maybe, or something like that. Get humbled again by the good Man United, but fair enough. Here you are watching myself. Cheers for the support. Keane says Dublin waking up from their slumber. Luke says, is Dean Rock playing? He is playing. He scored a couple of points from free so far, so it hasn't been a bad performance from him so far. Keane says entertaining first half. And Leah says Cork had lots of goal chances. Yeah, they certainly did. They had a lot of goal opportunities, and maybe when it's all said and done, that might be the difference between the two sides today.
Would be, yeah. Like geez, I again repeat myself. The shot selections are very poor, especially from Sherlock, especially from Chris Oak. Like the only fellow I think to get 100% of his shots so far, I'll have to double check it, but it is Brian Hurley. The rest of them, very, very poor. I don't know what it is. Defensively, I'm very encouraged by the defence today. I know Dublin, you might say Dublin are doing poor attack-wise, which to an extent it is true. Like Ciarán Kilkenny missed one from close range, and it was just un-Kilkenny-like, as you might say. But in fairness to O'Mahony, to Matty Taylor, to Rory Maguire, they're really putting a shift in fairness to them. Like, they're making it hard for Dublin, the midfield. Colin O'Callaghan and Maguire are doing well. It's just the forwards, just the final end product. That's the problem for Cork at the moment. But look, if you were to say to me Dublin were only a point ahead and Cork were to play better by half time, I would have taken it, without doubt. So, yeah, we're playing well so far. And after the Meath game, I didn't think there'd be that much of a reaction from Kildare Dublin game. But in fairness to the lads, they performed excellent. Fairness to them.
Yeah, no, like, and Dublin have been sloppy at times, and it hasn't been brilliant. Like, I suppose the main thing from a Dublin perspective is the result, but at the same time, the performances do need to improve, because I think, as I was saying in the match reaction against Kildare, like, when Dublin start playing your Mayos, your Kerrys, like those kind of sides, like they'll get beat by them, And even looking at Mayo last night, looking at how good Roscommon are playing, like these kind of performances that we've seen from Dublin at the start of Division 2 is actually very similar to what we've seen at the start of Division 1 last year. But the only difference is Dublin are obviously in a lower division, so we're playing less teams of quality, really, in terms of Kildare, who've looked fairly poor at the start of the league. I know they got a big win today against Clare, but they've been quite slow out of the blocks. And obviously against Limerick, 8 or 9 points. So, kind of like they're just a little bit poor, and that will certainly be a worrying point of view from Dublin further on down the line.
Well, yeah. In fairness, like, everybody thought Dublin would blitz everybody, and me included as well. Especially, like, the Limerick game's hard to judge because we didn't see it. The Kildare game, like, Kildare performed very, very poorly. Like, for so much time at the Clare game, actually, Clare were ahead for most of it. So Kildare maybe got out of jail today. They won today, did they, Kildare?
They did, yeah. They scored 3 points in injury time, just looking at Scorpio there. So they literally got out of jail. And from looking on Scorpio as well, like, it looked like they were a good bit behind going into the final couple of minutes, and they were behind for large parts of the game. So the fact they came out of it with a win, huge for them.
Big for them as well. But geez, they've been struggling in their 3 games, and then for Dublin to perform poorly against them, I mean, and Cork, who looked pretty vulnerable against Meath as well. So, it's not good signs for Dublin, but maybe there's the argument that they're trying out new players for the likes of Kerry, for Armagh. I don't think, would Leinster be a test? Probably not. So I know we talk about the All-Ireland system being very, very poor, but maybe it'll suit Dublin. Maybe to play these teams, play them before the All-Ireland quarter-final, semi-final, and see where you're at. Maybe you need to play them more now that you're in Division 2. It might suit Dublin, but it's not a particularly good system anyway. But yeah, it's a difficult one for Dublin. They've played Kildare, Cork after today. The Derry game will prove a lot, I'd say. Like, I looked at Derry last night. Very, very good. Very good performance from them. And to be honest, like, if Dublin performed like this, or the Kildare game, I think Derry could even beat Dublin up in Celtic Park. That'll be a very difficult game for Dublin there. Like, you even see the difference between Derry and Dublin. Like, Derry put away Meath in the first half. It was done. Basically, game, set, and match. With this Cork game, they're just letting Cork in the game. I know Cork could perform well, but it's worrying from a Dublin point of view that they're letting these teams hang in there, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, Could be
Yeah.
interesting second half.
Yeah, just looking at the replays there on TG Cahir of the square ball, like I'm actually not too sure if it was a square ball because he looks like he might have been slightly outside or maybe he had a foot on the line. So I don't know if that counts if his foot's on the line. Obviously he was outside of the square by the time. Obviously, like the square ball rule counts when if the player's outside of the square when the ball's played in, then it won't be a square ball. But from looking at the replay, like he looked like he might have just been slightly outside. So maybe Dublin got away with one there.
It was Shanley actually that put it in. What was he doing up there? No, but look at the replays. Yeah, it didn't look like a square ball at all.
Yeah, so
Jeez.
some more dodgy refereeing. Do you think Dublin will switch it on later in the game? I would hope so. I would certainly hope so. I would hope that we will switch it on in the more the game goes on. But I think the main thing really is the result is obviously important. Like the most important thing for Dublin is just to get out of Division 2 up to Division 1. But at the same time, consistently bad performances and poor performances, I think, could come back to haunt Dublin further down the line, especially if we do play a Kerry, a Galway, and Armagh, one of the top sides in the country. I think it could hurt us. Mikey says Cork working twice as hard for scores. Dubs don't have to get out of third gear. Maybe that's a fair point. Like Dublin haven't needed to be at their best, and yet they're still in front by a point. Whereas Cork, like you say Cork have had to work harder, but at the same time, like it's been that diagonal ball time and time again up to Chris Oak-Jones that's done the business.
It has been, yeah. Like we've said throughout the stream. I don't know. I think I counted there Chris Oak-Jones and Cian Murphy. There's been 4 duels between the two, and Chris Oak has won every one. So I think Dublin, as good as Cian Murphy has been, I think Dublin from a Dublin point of view, they need to switch them ASAP. I'd say just switch. I'd say I'm even looking at the defence. Would Big Fitzsimons be good? Like Big Fitzsimons then would be nearly worse because he's slow. He's well past his best as well. So, geez, who would go on him? John Small, Lee Gannon, but then it takes the attacking elements out of Gannon. Then, like, you have to do something anyway, because like there will be a chance in the game. Like it seems to me in the first half, Dublin have been getting away with murder because Cork have so many missed chances. That square ball as well as shown in TG Cahir. So, from a Dublin point of view, they need to fix up the defence. They've been warned, plenty of times. And if they don't heed the warnings, like Cork could sneak in for another goal chance, So it'd be interesting to see what Daisy does at halftime. Does he switch it up? It should be very interesting.
Yeah, like and as you're saying with Shanley's disallowed goal there from the square ball, like if that counts, you're 2 points up at half time, which is probably more of a fair reflection actually upon the game. Like I think that would probably be where we're at in terms of how both sides have actually performed and played so far. So I can imagine you're thinking of that, you're seeing that, and obviously like the umpires, I mean, it was close. Like his foot was on the line, so it was very, very close. But at the same time, it's another big decision that referees, officials, umpires have got wrong, unfortunately.
It is, yeah, and there's the call now. I said this a few years ago. Like, is there the time now for the GA to introduce VAR? I know it's not good in soccer and all that, but even go by the rugby template, have a TMO. A conversation between the referee and the video assistant referee, and you get more clarity then. I think it's brilliant, the assistant referee, because you get a clear wrong decision and it'll be overturned then. There's nothing then. And we've been talking about unfair decisions really since that 2010 incident with Joe Sheridan and Loud, So maybe there's time to bring it in then, and it's 13, 14 years later and we haven't fixed it. So
yeah.
I think the time is now for video assistant referees, or even but then again, Hawkeye doesn't work properly. So should we get that to work properly first before getting a video assistant referee? It's an interesting one, but definitely Cork will feel hard done by that goal. If they looked at that at halftime in the dressing room, looked at the replays of that, they'd be kicking boots along the floor, I'd say, in the dressing room after that. So yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's definitely something they could trial. Like I think it's definitely something they could try out for a year. I know a lot of people look at the Premier League and VAR and how it works there, but I think the Premier League seems to have huge amount of issues with their VAR system. But you look at the Bundesliga in Germany, or you look at La Liga in Spain. There doesn't seem to be as much. Now I wouldn't watch them leagues as much as the Premier League, but there doesn't seem to be as much fuss about VAR there. So I think people would maybe look at how badly the Premier League are operating it, but it's not. It shouldn't be that hard. Like you shouldn't need 3-4 lads in a, all you need to have is one person watching the game who's able to see and then able to look at the angles, look at the angles quickly, and then make the necessary changes. And it shouldn't take too long. And I know all this people will say, well, what level would you keep it at? Would it be just for games in Croke Park? As I said, like it just needs to be someone watching the game. They don't actually need to be in the stadium, And fair enough, maybe you can't have it in every single game because you wouldn't have the manpower for that. But I think for championship, quarterfinals onwards, provincial finals, I think you definitely need it because as you said there, like we're only one more Joe Sheridan wrongly allowed goal from a kicking off again.
Yeah, exactly, sure. Like even look at this game, like I think the best case scenario for referees is if Dublin win by a canter in this game. Like if it's like 2-3 points, maybe even 4 points, the Cork will go back to that instance and look at go through Cork chances there. I think a few chances. Oh, this chance for Chris O'Jones, brilliant save by David Hanlon. Like how many? Like if Fairness Cork have had, I'd say 3-4 goal chances. Look at that. So it's going to be very very difficult to see how they get another. That was another goal chance as well. Like just an inch to the right, and it gets Owen McSweeney's pass. Jesus, like even look at the replays. I think we've had 3, 4, 5 goal chances in that first half. So
Yeah.
should be very. Jeez, like I don't know. Are we going to create as better goal chances as those in the second half? That'd be a worry. If we're planning to draw with them or beat Dublin. And they're going through Brian Hurley's points now, but he's been excellent in fairness, Brian Hurley. But the rest of them need to get their shooting boots on.
Yeah, like I suppose a positive though, maybe from a Cork perspective, like as a Dublin fan, when we've had these problems in the past, we haven't really done enough to change it. Like this game kind of does remind me a bit of actually when we played Kildare in the league last year, where Kildare scored 1 or 2 goals from going direct into Jimmy Hyland, and it was just something Dublin didn't address. We continued playing the same way for the full 70 minutes and then eventually got beat. Like it came back to cost us. Now, like whether the same thing happens in this game, I'm not entirely sure, but like that would be a worry from a Dublin perspective. But like probably what I do is I probably would put Mick Fitzsimons on Chris O'Jones because I know, as you said, like Fitzsimons probably has slowed down a bit in the last couple of years, but he has that experience. He's marked David Clifford in All-Ireland finals. He's come up against the likes of Cillian O'Connor. He's marked the greatest players in the game. And I think for a half, if Dublin maybe just drop off just a little bit when those direct balls are coming in, we should be able to close the gap or close the spaces a little bit. But it's going to be a big half for both sides.
Going to be a huge half, yeah. I'm just going to look at substitutes. I think Dublin haven't announced their subs. So I think McCaffrey's there on the subs bench, Larkin O'Dale. So they could make a difference. Cork, that was confirmed during the week. You have Rory Dean, Conor Corbett. Like imagine Rory Dean coming on. Like he's more direct than Chris O'Jones, I would say. So he could cause a few problems coming onto the pitch as well. Fionn Hurley, Mark Cronin, seen how good he is for Nemo and for UCC during the week as well. Cillian O'Hanlon could add more to that midfield, so could Shane Merritt. So I'm telling you, look at Cork's bench. This game isn't over yet, I'd say. They could bring in some players, but I think Dublin need to bring on McCaffrey if they're going to close this game out. I think if he is on the bench, that is. So it's going to be a very interesting half. We'll see how it goes anyway. I think Cork are out in the field at Dublin or in the dressing room still. Jesus.
Yeah. Like, I seen us score Biota, Jack McCaffrey's there, but like the cameras haven't gone on him. You think the
Yeah.
cameras would pan to him if he was there. Now maybe it's a case they just haven't done so. But we'll have to wait and see. Like sometimes it's kind of hard to know with Dublin. Sometimes we're as cute as anything when it comes to team sheets and team names. I remember one year Con O'Callaghan was named in the starting 15 and then wasn't even in the squad. I think it was against Kerry last year. So you don't really know half the time. But we'll run through some comments here maybe just before the second half starts. Tom says only a matter of time before the Dubs start to turn the screw. And Mikey says Dubs will pull away if they raise the intensity. Then the game could be over before the hour mark. And as Yul says here, good comments about the game. Greetings from Mexico. John North says, hi lads, Cork seem to be going a full tilt while Dublin are playing a slow build-up. Cork getting down the right side a lot more. Yeah, it's been that direct ball that really, really has caused the damage. I suppose from a Cork perspective, though, you'll want to see more of Stephen Sherlock really in this second half, won't you? Because a couple of uncharacteristic wides from him, and if he can turn it on and you continue doing what you're doing, then you do have a chance.
We do have a chance, yeah. It'd be very interesting to see how they use Sherlock in the second. I'm looking at the bench now. I think McCaffrey's named on the bench on the Dublin website anyway. So
Right,
yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. James McCarthy is though. He's number 21. So will he come on? Could he make a difference? So very interesting to see how it progresses. Is Locke O'Dell on the bench actually? Oh yeah, he's number 25. So he could make a difference as well.
Yeah, and I think McCarthy as well would be the perfect man to bring on if Dublin are in front. If there's 3-4 points in front, I think he'd be a great man to bring on because he'll just slow the game down, keep the ball, and just see the game out. Basically, he's probably not the greatest man to bring on if we're chasing the game necessarily. But we'll obviously have to wait and see. Second half has started anyway. Dublin won the throw in and then on the attack, but a bit of a poor pass there from Kilkenny. So Cork now on the ball. First point of the second half could be crucial. Doesn't look like there's, obviously I'm watching this without commentary or anything like that, so I don't know if there is that much of a breeze or what's going on or in favour of either end, but doesn't look to be anyway. It looks fairly good conditions.
It's hard to know anyway, Aaron, because you know yourself and I know myself, we're not very good at the Irish language anyway, translated. So
yeah.
I think it's a Gway is the wind. I haven't heard that word, so they haven't even mentioned it.
Yeah, from looking anyways, it doesn't look like this. It looks fairly clean conditions compared to in Derry yesterday. There's another effort from Brian Hurley with an effort there. Looked like it was going to sail over, but just goes a little bit wide of the target. So another wide there from a Cork perspective. Dublin starting to go a bit more direct in the second half up into Dean Rock. Ref's called another foul there. This time on Ian McGuire, I think it was. A little bit of a pullback. Probably is the right decision when you see it, but you could also perceive that as a little soft. Oh, he's given a red card. Jesus.
What?
I think he's given a second yellow card for Ian. Yeah, because Ian McGuire got booked in the first half, did he? So he's given. That's very harsh. In fairness, now I don't think that should be a yellow card. Yeah, we'll
he's
wait.
going away from the goal.
Unless he said something to the referee after the challenge or something or some sort of dissent, but that's a huge decision. That's a decision that could really change the game. I mean, it is a pullback. I think it is a foul. I think it is a free.
But it's not warranty yellow card.
No, I don't think so now. I mean, it is a bit of a pull, but I don't know if it's quite enough, And as you said, it wasn't wasn't stopping an opportunity. So yeah, that's a huge call for the referee, and it's fair to say you haven't got the rub of the green here today.
I haven't no at all, and it doesn't help. It does not help when decisions like that. Like, I'm sorry, no, like, but he's going away from the goal. How could you perceive that as a yellow card, even a second yellow or a red?
No,
No,
yeah, like if that was at the opposite end, like if that was, I don't know, Mick Fitzsimons or Brian Fenton maybe or something like that, I would not be happy with that whatsoever. Yeah, like obviously as a Dublin man, I'm happy for us to have the man advantage and hopefully go on and win the game. But yeah, like all of a sudden, it was already going to be a tough task for Cork. Now it becomes an absolute mountain of a task. And a decision like that just really, really does change the game as Dean Rock pops that one over the bar.
No, geez, the TG Power commentator started with white for a minute. Like, I'm like, how could you question Dean Rock? Seriously.
Yeah, he was a little rusty against Kildare at the start, but I think he is settling more and more into this Dublin team so far this year. Like that has been a common theme this year. In fairness, like we have gone fairly strong in terms of forwards for Dublin. Like obviously don't have Paul Mannion back yet, but generally with Con O'Callaghan, Kieran Kilkenny, we have been fairly strong in that department.
Seems that Dublin are tighter defensively now in the second half. They're packier, I'd say.
Yeah, another wide there from Cork, Chris O'Jones this time. The wides are kind of stack it up now from a Cork perspective.
No, it's very, very poor shooting. And it's unlike Cork. They usually are very good shooting wise. Look at O'Jones, Hurley in fairness is doing well today, Sherlock, anonymous really. So, and it looks like this is going to be an easy opportunity, is this? Well, still on the Chris, that was an easy opportunity, like.
Yeah, Con O'Callaghan there just ran through, turned the full back inside and out. Could have went for a goal, to be fair, but just hand passes it over the bar. So, yeah, like Dublin are starting to build up a bit of a lead now. Cork, obviously, 3 points down with less than a man. So, it's becoming more and more of a tough task from a Cork point of view. But in fairness, like you did, as you said there, like you had that chance from Chris O'Jones. And now you've won the resulting kick out. That's a brilliant catch actually there by the other Cork midfielder. So
I think, like, to support Cullen, I think we need to bring on Cillian O'Hanlon in that midfield. I don't know who you sub out. Just, level it at that department there. That is a very good catch, to be fair, from Cullen. He's done well this year. Fairness to him. Done very well.
Yeah, he scored what 2-3, 2-2 or something against Kerry in the McGrath Cup.
2-4 from play. Yeah, he's improved year on year. Like last year was his breakout year midfield when he was usually a forward. Geez, that's a good. That's good from I think it was Hurley drawing the goal there, or from Paddock up in Burn. But yeah, it was yeah, he's done well. He's done really well. But we thought he didn't fit our system in the last few seasons. Like, I know we had that win over Kerry in 2020, but he went off pretty early in that game. And yeah, like he has done very well in midfield, in fairness to Rodder on the forward line, and he's found his position. So fair play to him. Coffee Burns just got booked.
Yeah, so I suppose the referee has been consistent anyway in terms of these yellow cards. But this is a big moment now for I'm not too sure who's standing over it. Might be Brian Hurley maybe, or I suppose Sherlock normally takes these, doesn't he?
Usually, sure. Yeah, Rory Dean's coming on.
I think it's Hurley who's taking it, so it's a big one. But
Sherlock's coming on.
Yeah, he's put it wide again, so it's another. I think that's 3 wides now at the start of the second half for Cork.
Yeah.
James McCarthy's actually about to come on, so he definitely was on the bench.
Just seen there, Sherlock's gone off for Rory Dean. So, yeah, sums up his day.
Could he have been carrying a knock maybe or something, or some sort of, I don't know, like, because it was a bit of an uncharacteristic performance from him, like, considering, he's usually sort of shooting the lights out for Cork.
Yeah, Jesus, it's strange. He didn't look particularly bad going off. So,
Yeah.
I think it was just a bad day at the office. So,
Yeah, John.
That's smart management. Smart management, considering he's been booked.
Yeah, it is actually, because especially with this referee as well, the fact that he's obviously now gone and sent off Ian Maguire for that second yellow card. Like he set the template for what he's going to do, and you'd expect him to be consistent. So it is interesting as well, like, just from having a look at Padro Kirkwood-Byrne, he was dropping a lot deeper at times, as well as sort of operating around midfield. John does say here Cork need to make changes. Their shooting is way off the mark. Lucky for Dublin. Yeah, probably is. And the rub of the green has definitely gone in Dublin's favour as well in terms of decisions. Another point popped over there from Dublin, so into a 4-point advantage now. And the thing is, even with 14 men, like, you're still creating chances, like, you're still getting opportunities. It's just been the shooting that's unfortunately letting you down here.
Yeah, and actually, Cork have had more shots than Dublin, 19 shots to 17. And where TJ Garrett says 20, but like, Cork have had more shots than Dublin, and to say you've only converted 7 out of 19 or 20, that's not good enough at this level. So.
Yeah, like, and Dublin are just comfortable now, like, because the 4-point lead is there now. Like, we can afford to keep the ball. We can afford to keep it longer than what we were. Although, in fairness, we do look like we're trying to make things happen. About 46 minutes gone anyway. Dublin 4 points, 4 points to the good.
Powder just went down there inside of Dublin 45. I don't know, did he get a belt or something?
Yeah, I didn't catch him myself. Dublin being very clinical now in the start of the second half. They've just popped another one over there. I think it was Newcombe again with his second score of the game. So I think they might be showing now. Yeah, it looked like there was something off the ball there involving Lee Gannon. Yeah, it was just a shoulder.
He's been booked, Lee Gannon.
Oh, has he? Yeah.
Yeah.
He has been. Yeah. Oh, he's been booked already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that. Yeah, like, I'd like it. Like, look like it. I suppose it was a shoulder off the ball, wasn't it? So I suppose it should be a yellow card.
Yeah, it's a good point for Darren Newcombe there, but look, I've seen this now for Powder and.
Yeah, no, he's
second. If Maguire got sent off for a yellow there, that's surely a second yellow for Lee Gannon. Normally, I wouldn't think that's a yellow, but if the referee's being consistent,
Yeah, and he has actually. He's given him the second yellow, so he's
gone.
He's gone. So, like, that evens it up in terms of. Again, I would say, like, to be fair, like, that one probably is more of a yellow card in the fact that it's a shoulder off the ball as such. But again, it is quite harsh. Like, again, like,
yeah.
But the referee is being consistent.
Consistent, yeah. Like, usually you would say that's not a yellow card or anything like that. It's something off the ball. It's innocuous. But the fact that Maguire got a second yellow for something very, very harsh, you have to get the yellow there. So you have to applaud the referee here, in fairness. Like, he's sticking to his principles. But 14 against 14 now.
Yeah, like, nearly 15 minutes into the second half, Cork still haven't even scored yet. But maybe that red card will just give Cork a bit of a impetus really here to just take the game a bit more to Dublin.
Hopefully, yeah. Starting off with this kick-out now. Need to win this. And so we did.
Yeah, there's a point there from Brian Hurley. So first point of the second half for Cork. To be fair, like I think if I probably would have asked you with about 20 minutes to go that there's only 3-4 points in it, you probably would have took it, I'd imagine. So
yeah, like yeah, I definitely would have taken it. Yeah, it's just disappointing when you have so many chances, about 20 chances against Dublin, and you've only taken 8. That's the really disappointing part of it. But in terms of other aspects of the game, I think we've done well. I think we've done well in midfield, defensively. I think we've challenged Dublin well. It's just attack-wise has been very, very poor. That's the problem here. But yeah, proud of the effort so far, in fairness.
Keane says here, totally stupid by Gannon. Yeah, it was needless, really, wasn't it? It was definitely needless, and there was no need really to do that. So, and it's just Dublin were in a very comfortable position, 5 points up, an extra man. Now, and you can see with Cork here, like they look like they have a bit of an impetus. There might have been a drag back there, maybe on Brian Hurley. I don't think the referee's given at him, or maybe he has actually. I think he is going to give a free. Yeah, like I suppose Mick Fitzsimons had his hands on his back, but it looked more so that Brian Hurley was actually reaching for it. So I don't know, like I don't know if that is a free, to be honest with you, but we'll see what happens. It does look like a bit of an injury for Brian Hurley here, though.
Oh, it's just seen the foul there now. Yeah, I'd love to see a replay of that.
James McCarthy and someone else getting into.
In fairness, that looks kind of a soft free. Like at the same time, it's not really a foul, but he didn't need to go in there.
Yeah. Yeah, like like his hands were sort of, I suppose, in a bad position. But James McCarthy and someone else are getting into a bit of a tussle, yellow card either way. I'm not even too sure if the ref did give a foul. I don't think he did.
Yeah, I'd say it has to be yellow either way there. But in fairness to Cork, they are standing up to them. In fairness to them,
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I think if Dublin were to throw this away, like it would be an absolute disaster. To be 5 points up with an extra man and then just completely blow up. But we'll see what happens. Brian Hurley's standing over anyway. Looks like he's back on his feet. He does put it over. I actually thought he put it wide there for a minute, but he just put it over. So 2 points on the bounce, 3-point game with about 18 minutes plus injury time to go.
But look, like to be 3 points down with say just under 20 minutes to go, this is a brilliant performance. You have to say from Cork. For Dublin, there is question marks. I'd say after the Kildare game. Kildare, that was a point in it in the end, and Kildare could have easily won it. So look, I know Kildare and Cork were decent sides, but it's not exactly Kerry, Armagh, Roscommon even today were brilliant. Like Derry put away Meath so easily last night. So from that point of view, Dublin will be concerned, I'd say.
Yeah, like it's been better from us in the second half. We've looked a little bit better. Our shooting's been a bit sharper. But just in the final, and like since that red card, we've gotten a little bit sloppy. A few wides. Cormac Costello there is just sort of juggled the ball out over the sideline there. So possession is back with Cork, and you do get the feeling here that Cork have, like, since that red card from Lee Gannon, there's just been a bit of a momentum shift in Cork's favour. And look, I'm not watching with any sound here, but I'd imagine the Cork fans are up on their feet and they're really sort of urging the team on here now, because there's definitely a chance going into the final 15 minutes to make a game of it, which we wouldn't have said about 5-6 minutes ago.
Yeah, like I have the sound on here. I think proud have been, on their feet and cheering the team ever since the Maguire red card. They felt kind of they were hard done by, and then just cheer on the team. I'm just seeing number 2. I think Conor Corbett's going to come on, so should be an interesting move there. Like it'll be some game to announce yourself in senior. To, run at that Dublin defence.
Yeah. Oh. There's I won't spoil it for you. I'll wait.
I think I know. I
think you know what's coming.
Just gonna see who scored it. Scored the 3-pointer.
Yeah, it was actually a very good goal, but yeah, no, this is panic stations now from a Dublin perspective.
This is terrible from Dublin. Oh, it's a brilliant goal. It's a brilliant goal from Matty Taylor there, but I'd be questioning Dublin there. I'm sorry, that's way too open. Way too open. Like, you're all just gone in at Rory Dean and then leaving all the space there. It's very poor.
No, like that's yeah. And like even though we were bad against Kildare, I thought defensively we were fairly solid, but no, yeah, we were very, very, very very, very poor there. And yeah, like all of a sudden the game is just completely turned on its head. I mean, Dublin were 5 points up with an extra man and seeming like the game was done and dusted. Now all of a sudden the impetus is back with Cork.
Bit of a strange move for Dublin. Davy Bird's come on for Niall Scully. So would that suggest that they're trying to defend the draw?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think that change just happened just after the goal, was it?
It was, yeah, just after the goal. There's been 3 changes there. Dublin have also brought on Colin Baskell instead of Ross McGarry as well. So they brought on an attacker and a defender for 2 attackers.
Yeah,
so not sure what that implies, but and Conor Corbett, I think, has come on for Chris Jones. So Chris has his work done, so Corbett's on.
Yeah, I don't know, like that kind of nearly reminds me of when you're playing FIFA and you make 2 substitutions before the ball goes out of play and then you forget to switch them or something. Like I don't really know what's going on there. Brian Fenton's just scored a lovely point there. That's a good score from Brian Fenton. So Dublin back in front. Much needed score there for Dublin just to stem the tide ever so slightly. Yeah, like I'm just looking at the team and I'm not like unless we're playing like Brian Fenton further up the pitch or James McCarthy, like it is interesting, all right, just looking at it there where certain players are going to play, but whether Desi's just looked at it and thought Cork are opening us up defensively and geez, they might be in again here, but it's a last minute block to go out for a 45.
But then again, with our shooting today, we'll probably put this wide again.
Yeah, so, I was just thinking there, was it a foot block maybe, but I don't think it was. Maybe it might have been a bit too. Here comes Jack McCaffrey. There he is. He is there. So he definitely is there, and on he comes ahead of Keane Murphy. So it'll be interesting now. You'd imagine like Davy Byrne will move into the cornerback, and Jack McCaffrey, he actually has the number 7 shirt on his back as well, funnily enough.
So Owen Merchant's out of the squad.
Yeah, must be the case, yeah. But on he comes. Jack McCaffrey, great to see him in a Dublin shirt. Good memory I always have of Jack McCaffrey is actually against Cork in 2013 when he scored that goal. I thought it was a brilliant goal.
Jeez, I remember that. Yeah. That was the time when we had Canty and Nola Leary and all them players, and McCaffrey with the young legs just burned them for pace. Yeah, memorable goal.
Yeah.
Remember being there actually for the McCaffrey going to Croke Park. Me, it was,
Yeah, I was at that game as well in Croke Park. Yeah, no, it was a cracking goal, and like that was when McCaffrey kind of only just burst onto the scene. Like he burst onto the scene a little bit in 2012, but 2013 was really where like he really kind of came alive. And I remember coming out of that game because I wasn't too familiar with Jack McCaffrey before that game. I'd seen him a little bit in the Leinster Championship, but I remember coming out of that game and thinking like this player is, we might have something really really special here. Like.
yeah. Yeah, like that was the time when Dublin were playing this expansive football, attacking wing backs, and it's a very good youngsters coming through as well. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, just seeing there, obviously Brian Hurley dropped that effort short. So like that's the kind of key moments. James McCarthy's just scored there as well. So Dublin 2 points in front. You feel like nearly like when this, like we'll see obviously what the full-time score is, but if the game continues in this trend and even if Dublin win it, like you'd nearly look back and think like Cork, if they just had a little bit better shooting wise, they could win this game going into the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, but then again, look at Dublin being so open at the back. Maybe there could be another chance for a goal. Maybe, so that could be a way that Cork come back into the game to trying to get goals. Like, Conor Corbett there, Rory Dean. We have runners that have just come onto the pitch. And I'm thinking, use them. You may as well use them now. Last few minutes, 10 minutes to go. Burn these Dublin defenders for pace. Like Davy Burns come on now, who I actually think is a decent defender. So we might not get as good goal chances as we got earlier in the game. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, Mikey says here, Cork back in it against all odds. If Dubs lose this, it's almost as bad as a choke. As bad as a choke as the Mayo game, employing the Mayo Armagh game there. It'd definitely be up there. I suppose the main difference would be like Mayo coming up against a good side in Armagh. I know obviously they conceded 5 points sort of late on at the end of the game in an injury time, but Armagh are probably going to be thereabouts in the All Ireland this year. Are Cork going to be thereabouts? You wouldn't expect, you wouldn't think they would be. And everyone's implying that Dublin are the closest challengers to Kerry, like, and like that definitely doesn't look like that early on.
He has. Brilliant. 1 point again.
Back to a 1 point game. Interesting there from the kick out. Like, look how deep Cork are there.
John O'Rourke's come on Sweeney there.
Jack McCaffrey on the ball trying to make things happen. Plays it out. Dublin need a point here, but that's dragged a little bit wide. Dragged well wide there by John Small.
For team chasing the game, actually, Cork are pushing very far back.
Yeah, like they definitely did from the kick out, all right. I suppose it worked out in the end because James or John Smalls put the effort wide. But yeah, like it was very deep to be dropping back, all right.
Seen the small miss now. Oh, that's a very poor miss. Oh my, yeah, I know Dublin, look at the stats, they've done well in terms of shooting, but like even the Kilkenny chance at the start of the game, small now, they look like easy chances for a team of Dublin's caliber. So I think they'll be kicking themselves at the end of the game if they end up bottling it.
Absolutely. And I think, like, regardless of even if Dublin do come through this with a win, like I think, like the Dublin just look miles off it at the minute, like, and defensively all over the place. Cork are on the attack here again. Dublin are set up defensively, but they're just not getting close enough. And you can just see like Brian O'Driscoll there with an effort to drop short. Like Cork are getting into the positions, and they're being able to get the shots away in good positions, but it just has been that shooting that's letting them down. Dublin now going down the other end. John says here, game coming to life since red cards. Yeah, especially the Lee Gannon red card probably did open it up. Dublin win a free here, or Dublin win a mark, I think it is. Con O'Callaghan standing over it. You'd expect them to comfortably put this one over. And has he? I think he has. Yeah, he has.
Like, I know you're 2 points ahead now. It's a crucial score, but are you a fan of the advanced mark when it just kicked from that area to Con?
Yeah, no, like I think I've said numerous times like that the mark. Like I'm definitely not a fan of it, and when it works in our favor, fair enough. But when it works against you, it's really really annoying. Like, and I don't know. I think this might be the last year maybe where they're trialing it. Is it?
Yeah,
And then
it could be.
but,
Hopefully it is, because it's the one rule where I actually despise it.
yeah,
And
it's weird. Like it a lot of teams almost forget about it sometimes. And like Cork, I don't think Cork have maybe called one mark in this game.
Yeah.
They do have a free here now. Brian O'Driscoll fell there by James McCarthy, so it is close-ish to the goal. Yeah.
Third sending off on the way, it's
Yeah, he already has a yellow, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think the referee. I don't think he's given on for this.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think it is a yellow card, but I suppose when you're looking at the moment earlier in the game involving one of the Cork player was sent out, Ian McGuire. Like you could argue the case that James McCarthy should get a yellow there as well, but
and you can see McCarthy's reaction actually. Like, I think he's kind of expecting the ref. I know he thinks it's not warranting a yellow card, but he kind of expects the ref to give him one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you'd have to say the ref wasn't consistent there. I mean, it would have been very harsh, I think, but you could have said that's more of a yellow card than the Ian McGuire one. So, but back to a point game with a couple of minutes to go. Like,
that's 8 points for Hurley today.
Yeah, I mean, what a performance.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a big positive as well. I suppose, like the fact that, because I remember in the opening day against Meath, Stephen Sherlock I think scored 14 points, and you were thinking like, where are the other scores coming from? Dublin here might have. They look like we kind of had a half goal chance. Didn't really work. Good bit of defending there from Cork. Jack McCaffrey getting right tick into the action, getting a few bruises there for his troubles, but wonder could Con O'Callaghan, he should have just maybe took the point there or tried to put it over the bar.
Yeah, it's that time of game now where you have to just put them on 4 minutes to go, 2 points ahead. You'd fancy Dublin there. In fairness, that's good defence by Cork though. Very good from Rory Maguire there, winning a free.
Jack McCaffrey might get a yellow card here for his troubles, or no, he doesn't get anything. This is
the Cork crowd are really getting behind them now. So
yeah, like this is a huge attack now. Like they're only a point behind and they have the possession, so I think like it's a pivotal moment in the Division 2 race as well, because like if we weren't to win this, it just kind of blows it open. Oh, that is a big miss there. Wait till you see this. John says Dublin have stepped up a bit, 2 points up. Caffrey is getting his name taken with no yellow, says John there in relation to the earlier chance. Yeah, Dublin with a bit of possession. Oh, here's a chance maybe for a goal. It just kind of drags away from him. Just take the point.
That was so miss.
Yeah, that was a huge chance. I mean, like Hurley running through. Like I think it's nearly easier to score than it was to miss.
He has to put that over. I know he performed scoring 8 points, but oh my god. Very poor miss.
Yeah, and like the thing is, he could have nearly kept going and drove for a goal. Like I think he made the right decision in going for the point in the end. But
wait, how's Fenton missed that?
yeah,
oh my!
yeah. I looking at it there, I thought I went over, but yeah, I think he's giving it a wide.
Surprised Lark O'Dell's on so late.
Yeah. Here come Cork again. It's a frantic finish. This nervy times. This as a Dublin fan watching this, like.
And he didn't think that would start the game at all.
No, I definitely didn't. Like, and to be honest, like looking at Cork's missed chances, like you could have won this game. Be interesting to see how much injury time he adds on. Cork just they're just waiting for the opportunity here. Seven minutes injury time. Wow, that's a lot of time. Didn't think there'd be that much injury time. Oh. Dublin are doing well here just to keep out the opportunity, but Cork, think they've lost. No, they still have it. They still have the ball. What a miss, says Sean, in relation to the earlier effort there from Brian Hurley. It was a huge moment, and you think if he had popped that over, Cork would have had the ball here, maybe going for the winner. So yeah, Michael Fitzsimons gets a yellow card. Not too sure what for, but Brian O'Driscoll going off, Fionn Hurley coming on.
Interesting.
Wonder, I suppose I was nearly going to say Hurley could have gone for the point. I think maybe he has he? Oh no, he's hit it in there. That's a good. What's he given? Oh, he's given. Don't know what the ref's done here. He's given the ball to Dublin. Not did the ball go out of play? Maybe. I'm not 100%. Or he's given a foul. I think maybe. I don't really know I don't know what's happened there. I think, but I think when you see this, you mightn't be happy.
It's a square ball. It's just...
okay. Maybe yeah. Yeah, that was a big moment. Big moment. Dublin now have the ball. I'd expect Dublin just to keep it now. Like the thing is, we have the experienced players out there. We've been through this and all Ireland finals, the biggest games where we've just kept the ball. It mightn't be pretty, but I think Dublin just can't do anything silly here.
You expect them? They won't. You know, there should be seasoned pros to deal with the lead here. Then again, like you seen it with the Mayo game in 2021, you never know.
Yeah, Brian Fenton just slowing it down. suppose like Cork are sitting very deep, keeping a lot of men. Like, I suppose they don't want to run the risk, but at the same time, they kind of do need to get men out here to engage because Dublin will just keep it for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Seems a lot of injury time, says John. Yeah, like it definitely was a little bit more than I would have anticipated. Like, I don't really know where he's getting 7 minutes out of. Jack McCaffrey, does he still have that explosiveness? He definitely does. Look at this. Jack McCaffrey, absolutely brilliant. Pops it over the bar. That's vintage Jack McCaffrey. Still has that explosiveness. Burst past 2 players there and then pops it over. So it's a 2-point game. 2-point game. Cork maybe, like you could argue the case they still have time to get 2 points, but maybe a goal is what's needed now. Richie says if Cork had more composure in front of goal, this could be a different scoreline. Yeah, like absolutely. Like, going into the final 2 minutes.
Overcarrying it? No.
Yeah, now Dublin have the ball here now, so 2 points up with about a minute and a half to go. It looks like we're gonna get out of jail again, a bit like we did against Kildare. Another point for Dublin would 100% kill the game off, but at the same time, as long as we just don't give the ball away, then we should be okay.
Yeah, 1 minute left. That's it. Be grand.
Yeah, Dublin have just given the ball away though, so there might be maybe a chance here for Cork. Where's Mark Keane when you need him?
Down in Oz. Yeah, it's a big loss there, especially for moments like these. But look, it is what it is.
Yeah, like I think that's what they're gonna have to do. They're gonna have to just send it in there and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Oh. Jesus. I think Dublin have just got away with it there. Jesus, that was nervy stuff. That was nervy stuff there, but I think that might be it. Jesus, like that. How do you get nothing out of that? I don't know. Like Cork have the ball here, but I don't think there's. I think the referee might just blow his whistle here now. Con O'Callaghan's got a yellow card now. Yellow card's been.
Yeah, he's a very ref. That's gone wide, is it?
It has, yeah. Like that's poor. Like. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fuck me. Jesus, that is, I think it's the referee called it. Oh my goodness me. Madness. Cork kicked that one away, says Tom. Yeah, there we go. Full time whistle. Cork 2-10. Dublin 18 points. Brian Hurley hits the post of that late minute effort. I mean, it was Jesus, like within whiskers, within like millimeters away there. But Dublin have gotten away with it hugely there. Like the full time score is Cork 2-10. Dublin 18 points. Dublin in the end get the victory by 2 points in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. I think as a Dublin fan, I'm happy we've won the game. I'm happy we've come through it. Like
look at the replay. I think Hanlon saved it.
I think he got a touch on it, did he?
Oh, it's a brilliant save.
Brilliant save. Yeah, absolutely huge there. I mean, yeah, like I suppose for myself as a Dublin fan, I'm not too sure how to feel about it. Like I'm happy we've come through the game. I'm happy we've won the game, but I think at the same time there was a lot wrong about that performance at the same time, like silly wides. Even at the end there, Colin Basquel running through, puts it miles wide. Like he had so many options there. He could have kept the ball. He could have set up a goal chance. He could have popped it over the bar. And then that late Brian Hurley chance, would have been just to level the game rather than win the game. But yeah, like as a Dublin fan, I'm happy to win the game. But Jesus, like we're miles off competing with the top teams. But what were your thoughts on that?
No, I think the main thing was the shooting. Then again, like before the game, I would have said 2 point beating. I said would have been a remarkable performance, but I just feel like Aaron, that's a game that got away from Cork. That was it. That was a chance to beat a big side like Dublin. I know John Clear would say it was a very good performance. The lads put everything into it, but look at the chances we had. The Hurley chance at the end, or even before that, I think. Hurley and Sherlock missing so many frees. Chris O'Jones in the first half as well. Like there was so many chances missed for Cork, and I'm kind of gutted, Aaron. To be honest with you, I'm not gutted about the performance. I think the performance was remarkable from the players, especially the defenders and the midfielders. But no, it's a hard one to take. Hard one to take to lose that game. But look, it's we know now that we can challenge the likes of Dublin. We beat Kerry in the McGrath Cup. Like there is positives this year to take, and we have to win our next 3 games now to, have any chance of going to a final bout with Derry. But we'll see where it takes us anyway.
Yeah, like I mean, as you said in the first half, like those wides really cost Cork. Like I think there was multiple chances really for Cork. Like Stephen Sherlock was obviously popping them wide. Even at the start of the second half, like Brian Hurley dropped a few short. That big miss right at the end, like before the goal chance where Brian Hurley pops the chance wide, when it was only a 1 point game. Like I think it was there, like it was 100% there for you. And like as a Dublin fan, I'm looking at it and thinking happy with the result, but like mark my words, like Dublin can't keep playing like this. We will get caught, we will get beaten. To say that Dublin are the closest challengers to Kerry or Armagh, Mayo, whoever will be the toughest challengers when it comes to June, July, like to say Dublin are the closest challengers at this moment in time, I think it's just absolute nonsense. Like we look miles off there, like, and defensively as well, just criminal defending. Like I mean, the first goal, Chris O'Jones just run straight through. No, very very poor mark. And the second goal from the Cork wing back, like again, just cut open time and time again. And like that late chance from Brian Hurley, like Cork could have finished with 3 goals today.
They could have even more, like the Chris O'Jones chance in the first half that was saved by O'Hanlon. Like you have to thank David O'Hanlon a lot today. Like he made 2 crucial saves, one in the first half, and that save at the end when it looked like Hurley just hit the post. It was just a chip onto the post by him. Outstanding goalkeeping. I think you found your Cluxton here in that game. That's a positive for you. But yeah, there was so many goal chances. I'd say there was 4, 5, 6 goal chances. The Cork could have, stuck away. There were some easy chances for points as well. I think there was a few at the start of the second half. I think a crucial moment of the game was the Maguire sending off. Dublin reeled off. I think it was 4 points to no score. Then when Lee Gannon got sent off, Cork started to come back into the game then. So that's going to be taught on League Sunday tonight. It's that red card for Ian Maguire. I'm not sure really was it a red card, but look, Lee Gannon got sent off as well. So can't have much to complain about. But the chances criminally missed. But O'Hanlon, you have to take your hats off to a goalkeeper when he makes miraculous saves. And that was David O'Hanlon today, outstanding performance. And you should be very proud of him. Very good performance from him.
100%. No, I think he was Dublin's man of the match today. To be honest, like I think big saves, kickouts, fairly spot on. Didn't remember any going adrift. And as you said, that save right at the end from Brian Hurley, like to tap it onto the post and keep Dublin, to get the win. Because as I said, like if Dublin had lost that, like trust me, I'd be very angry here on this stream. Like I wouldn't be too happy at all if that goes in the back of the net. So like it was very, very close. Just looking at like talking about that red card again from Ian Maguire, like just a little pullback on Dean Rock, like no malice in it, just a little tug back. Like Dean Rock didn't even go down. He could have carried on and probably put the ball over the bar. Gives it as a second yellow, like very, very harsh. And it's interesting with the officials, like you've seen when Armagh were playing Mayo a couple of weeks ago, there was far heavier challenges there, and the referee didn't even give a yellow. And there was challenges there that could have been reds. And here he pulls Dean Rock back. And even as a Dublin fan, like obviously I want Dublin to win. So Ian Maguire gets sent off. Fair enough, that's a bonus for us. But from a neutral perspective and from a Cork perspective, like that's a criminal decision, really.
It is, yeah. Like I know he said it during the stream as well. Rock, if anything, was going away from the goal. So how could you say that was a red card? A second yellow. It wouldn't be yellow, I would say, in a normal game. And it was just frustrating that it ended up that way. The Lee Gannon sending off was a bit harsh as well. But at the same time, we said in the stream, look, the ref is being consistent. He gives pernickety fouls. I thought the ref was very card happy today. I think he gave so many yellow cards, so many. He gave 2 red cards. I think did he give black? He gave 3 yellows to Cork if you include the 2 yellows for Maguire and obviously the red card. And if you include a yellow for Gannon, 6 yellows and 1 red for Dublin. So he was very, very he loved taking out the book, I'd say, the referee today. For both sides. I thought there was like even the James McCarthy yellow card, it wasn't really a yellow card either. There was a few other incidents in the game, and I hope it gets stamped out of us, to be honest with you, from a neutral point of view, just to keep the game flowing. Like the Armagh Mayo game, the referee was getting criticised, but I thought he left the game flow there. I don't think he left the game particularly flow here. So that's something that needs to be worked on, say, Congress, not to give particularly yellow cards and stuff like that. And meaning is, like Maguire and Gannon's red cards today were nothing really compared to the Armagh Mayo fouls in the last in 2 weeks ago. So it's a problem the GA need to fix it.
Yeah, and even going back to the first half as well, like another decision that went against you was obviously the square ball goal where Chris O'Jones, like right before half time, again, like that damage down the left-hand side of Dublin, plays in the ball. Maurice Shanley finds himself, but as we've seen with the replays at half time, like his foot's a little bit on the line. So yeah, like you can feel rightly, done by there. Like that was another goal that, another decision, in my opinion, that went Dublin's way and certainly went against Cork.
Yeah, like even look in real time, we said during the stream, maybe it is a square ball, maybe Brian Hurley should have fisted instead of Maurice Shanley there. But look at the replay at halftime. This is infuriating. It didn't look like a square ball at all. So yeah, hindsight's a beautiful thing. It was a very harsh call. But even with those calls, Dublin probably still would have won the game. In a way, like they still would have, found a way to win the game, even though that they allowed chances towards the end of it. They still would have had, the temperament to finish it off, in my opinion, anyway. I don't know what you think yourself, but it's something that got away from us. But look, we can't blame the referee's decisions. So I know, there were poor decisions and all that. Square ball, the red card for Ian Maguire, but when you look at their shot percentage, I think it was 41% today. You have to look at that. Look at John Cleary will say that in the interview as well, I'm sure. Look at yourselves. You could have done things differently as well as the referee. You can't let the referee, implement the game that much. So yeah, we have to look at that more than the referee decisions. The referee decisions we can't change. We can change shooting stats. That's what we can change.
Yeah, Tom says here, not the best day in the office for today's ref, and Richie Ryan says, "How is a shoulder a bookable offence?" And yeah, like obviously the Cork player kind of threw himself to the ground a little bit. I don't know if it was a heavy enough shoulder to sort of knock him off balance completely, and maybe that sort of tipped it in the referee's way. But look, as Matthew was saying there, like he was consistent, and if the yellow card is a yellow card for Ian McGuire, then it probably is a yellow card for Lee Gannon. But then you could argue yellow cards left, right, and centre, yellow card for maybe every foul, really. So very, very poor there from the referee today, I felt. John North says Cork improving and they should do well in Championship. Gannon red card could have cost Dublin, and with Cork wides, Dublin were lucky. Kid Cuddy says Dublin's defence looks shaky against the Division 1 side. That's probably 4 goals conceded. Yeah, like when you think about it, we'd one goal that was wrongly disallowed, and then the Brian Hurley chance right at the end. So we could have easily conceded 4 goals today. And even when you think of David O'Hanlon, he makes that big save, but he makes a big save at the start of the first half as well. But yeah, like in terms of Cork shooting, like where do you think it maybe cost? Like, why do you think the shooting maybe was so lackluster? Like, maybe was it pressure a little bit? Like, especially when Brian Hurley's going through there to factor a point down. Like he knows how big of a point that is because it will draw you level in the game. And we've seen him pop over harder chances throughout the game. So what do you think? Was it pressure, or what do you think?
It probably was pressure. Like usually Brian would pop if he's on form, like he scored 8 points today. If he's on his pomp, Brian Hurley would put them over at ease. So I was just wondering, how did he miss that? It's just so uncharacteristic. Even Sherlock as well. Like I've the missed chances here. Even like Hurley scored 8 points, but he missed 5 shots as well. So he had 13 shots and he took 8. Maybe that's decent enough. Like Chris O'Jones, he did well today. Doing well against Keane Murphy, but he took 4 shots and he didn't take any of them. It's just them sort of things that need to get us over the line. The players will learn, no doubt about that. Sherlock took 1 out of a possible 5 as well. Like that was the one thing we were thinking at the week. Like John was saying in your podcast as well, Sherlock needs to be in top form. Like Cork did get close, but if Sherlock was in top form, could Dublin have been in trouble? So yeah, it's something the Cork need to learn. Shoot properly. Shoot with accuracy. The defence was good today. I will give it that. We limited Dublin to very little in the game, I thought. The midfield was good, but it's just, shooting at crucial moments. That's the big thing with this team.
Yeah, Richie says here, Sherlock didn't look fit today, could be carrying a knock. Yeah, like I was kind of saying that earlier, but I'm not entirely sure. Like I suppose we'll know maybe when Cork are playing in action next week. Maybe from a Dublin perspective to finish up on them. Like, I mean, like obviously we get the win and our shooting in the second half was much improved, but again, like just doesn't seem all right with Dublin. Like we are playing Kildare and Cork, who are Division 2 sides, like 2 teams that 4 or 5 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, even we would have put them to the sword. And yes, it is the league, it is early on, but like we had a lot of strong players out there today. Like Kieran Kilkenny, fairly quiet, wasn't really in the match. And from what I've seen, Conor O'Callaghan looked all right. Cormac Costello, fairly quiet. Jack McCaffrey, brilliant when he came on. He had that explosive run and brilliant points. But defensively, all over the place. And, from a Dublin perspective and as a Dublin fan, like I'm looking at it and thinking we have a long, long way to go if we are going to compete for the All-Ireland. And look, we thought that last year and then we weren't a million miles away in the end. But you're looking at it and thinking the problems that we had last year don't look like they're being fixed anytime soon.
I tell you what, about Dublin, I know they performed poorly today, but I think it's going to be a very interesting All-Ireland in terms of that, because Dublin performed poorly today. Kerry, without Clifford and O'Shea, weren't great last night. And if something happens to them, they aren't that great either. Armagh performed poorly enough against Roscommon today as well, and we thought they'd be challenging. Galway haven't had a good start to the league. So I'm going to tell you, Aaron, the All-Ireland isn't over yet. I think Dublin, on a good day, could beat anyone. So there's still that at the back of the minds. I think, unlike the hurling where Limerick are just perfectionists all over the fields, in football, I think it's going to be so open this year. Like you look at the amount of teams, Dublin still performing poorly, Kerry performing poorly, Armagh. We were talking about Armagh, but like they really should have lost that game against Mayo. I think speaking of Mayo, I think Mayo are probably the best team so far in it when you look at the league so far. But then again, there's always Mayo doing Mayo, so you don't know what's going to happen there. But I wouldn't panic as a Dublin fan. I really wouldn't. I know it was a poor performance today. It was a poor performance against Kildare, but you could turn up to Celtic Park against Derry and whip them. So there is that part of the Dublin team. So yeah, it should be interesting to see how they progress in the next few weeks. But today's performance aren't all Ireland worthy. But look at the other teams' performances. There's no time to panic just yet for Dublin, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, the worrying point with that would be the fact that we seen this last year in the league. Now, albeit it was against tougher opposition, we were getting beat by Kerry, Mayo, Armagh, or opening 3 games last week. But like when you actually look at the broad spectrum of things, we could have got beat by Kildare, probably should have. And I thought we were better in this game than we were against Kildare. But again, if Cork had a little bit more accuracy up top, they could have, you could have beat us today. So like that would be a big worry, is that we're not killing teams off either as well. Like we didn't kill Kildare off. And against Cork, like we were 5 points up with an extra man. We should have killed you off. We should have got 6 or 7. And there were even times in the end of that game, Brian Fenton missed the chance. That Colm Basquel chance as well. Like we are playing with fire too much. And look, we're in Division 2, so maybe that's why we're getting away with it. But there's a lot to cut out, I think.
Yeah, there is definitely. Like even the amount of chances you miss, like we were mentioning in the stream there, Kieran Kilkenny's and John Smalls in particular, and the one with Brian Fenton towards the end as well. Like that, Those are uncharacteristic misses from Dublin. I know when you look at stats after a 69% shot conversion rate is decent, but when you look at those individual chances, Dublin would take those in a heartbeat 2-3 years ago. Now, that would be one worry for Dublin. That really would be one worry that but maybe it's the fact that they're just relaxing a small bit with the Division 2 teams there, Kildare, Cork. Imagine if it was Kerry, Armagh, Mayo, they could be even to their pomp, like, even as I said, like they could whip Derry in the next few weeks with Derry performing so well, and then Dublin not doing much. We've seen it today, actually, this very division, Limerick against Louth. Limerick performed really, really poorly in the last 2 games, but yet gave Louth a game despite Louth putting up to Derry and Clare in the last few weeks. So there is that kind of thing peaking too early at the same time, and there could be something like that with Derry, and whereas Dublin are keeping the cards close to their chest. So there maybe could be that, but I think the misses in front of goal today particularly are a worrying aspect. That's it.
Yeah, Delboy Gunner TV says, lads, thoughts on Roscommon? Yeah, it was a huge win for them earlier, and we will be recording a sort of a reaction to all the games a little bit later, discussing all the games, breaking them down. There's obviously a lot to discuss, so we will be recording that a little bit later. Well, Matthew, cheers very much for coming on to the live watch along. Cheers anyone who tuned in. If they could hit the like button and subscribe, it would be much appreciated. And if you're watching the match reaction after, if you could hit the like button and subscribe as well, that would also be much appreciated. Matthew, cheers very much for coming on, and I suppose hard luck. Maybe next year.
Yeah, so good performance, but maybe next year. Maybe we'll come up with you if we beat Derry and Páirc Uí Chaoimh. But we'll see. Thanks for having me on, Aaron. Enjoyed it.